was Moses able to write a Sefer Torah and David HaMelech was not able to build the Bet Hamikdash? Well, the Bet Hamikdash is not a book. Bet Hamikdash is a building. And Hashem did not want his building built with hands that have killed somebody. Even if you killed somebody as part of a mitzvah, he did not want it to do that. To such an extent, the specifications of building the Bet HaMikdash, the house of God, were so specific that you weren't even allowed to use steel. You weren't even allowed to use steel to build the Bet HaMikdash. You weren't even allowed to saw things in a traditional way. So that's why Shlomo Melech had to command the king of the Shedim, of the demons, and he commanded him to go find him something called a shamir worm, because this shamir worm has radiation that was able to cut everything, including the stones. And that's why until this day, for example, if you go to the Kotel, or you go to the tunnels of the Kotel, on the tunnel of the Kotel, you're going to see there's one rock. There's one big rock that's on top of other rocks. And the archaeologists and scientists and everybody else that's been there and sees this rock says we don't have the technology today, with all the iPhones and iPads and all the stuff that we have today, atomic bombs, everything else. He says we don't have the technology today to make such a thing. We don't have the technology today to lift such a rock. Why? The rock is 40 feet long. It's one piece. It's on top. We have no technology in the world that could lift this rock. But somehow, Am Yisrael not only cut this rock, but actually lifted it. So the point is that the technology that we see today with the buttons and everything else, people think that makes it sophisticated, more sophisticated than the past. But if you look at the Midrashim, you look at our Torah, our oral Torah, you'll see that some of the technology that we possessed as Am Yisrael 1,500 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago, and even 3,000 years ago was even more advanced than some of the things we have today. So I did a shiur called Torah and Science and Ancient Wisdom. I recommend people watch it. It talks about different knowledge that Am Yisrael had about specific things in technology, in medicine, and all other aspects of science that is far more sophisticated than what we even have today. And they had it 3,000 years ago. So as far as the building, the Bet HaMikdash itself, Hashem wanted it a specific way, and since he's the boss, he calls the shots. Hashem wanted Moshe Rabbeinu to be the one that writes the Torah. He wanted to name the Torah after Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu did not want it. Moshe Rabbeinu, was against having a Torah named against him. He was the humblest man of all time. But the point being is that the Gemara Masechet Shabbat says that when the Satan came to Moshe Rabbeinu, he says to Moshe, "Where's the Torah?" He says, "Who am I to have a Torah? You think Hashem gave me a Torah? Who am I, Bechlal?" So Hashem says, "Moshe, what are you fibbing? You're lying, Moshe. I gave you the Torah." He says, "Hashem, the Torah is so big. There's no such thing you gave it to me. You gave me like the essence of a Torah. It's not, I don't have the Torah. I'm just carrying it here over here." Hashem says, "Oh, you're even humble when it comes to the Torah? I'll name it after you." 5 books of Moses. You're so humble. You're not even willing to say that you even have the Torah in your head? I'll name the Torah after you. Point being is that Hashem has his rules, he has his laws, he has his ways, and every single thing that he does, again, the main reason of why we follow it is simply because he said so. Other reasons we have, and the more you learn about some of these other reasons, the more fascinating you'll see that it is.